So the endocrine system, and we're going to discuss in this video the pituitary gland and the thyroid gland. So our objectives in this video, they are to define the endocrine system, to list the properties of the endocrine system, to locate the endocrine glands, to list the functions of a pituitary gland, and to list the functions of a thyroid gland. So what is the endocrine system? So the endocrine system is made up of glands that make hormones. So mainly when we mention the endocrine system, we should always remember that it's made up of glands, we said called غدد in Arabic, and that makes hormones, that secretes hormones. Okay, so what does the endocrine system do? We said that an endocrine system is made up of glands. Now the endocrine glands, they release hormones into the bloodstream. So these glands, these glands, they release hormones. Okay, they secrete hormones into what? Into the bloodstream, inside the bloodstream. Okay, bloodstream means مجرى الدم. Why? Which helps the hormones travel to cells in other parts of the body. So when they secrete the hormones inside the bloodstream is going to carry these hormones where? To different parts of the body. Okay, now what does the endocrine system do? So the endocrine hormones help control mood, growth, and development. So when you are feeling in love, remember that what's responsible for that, they are the hormones secreted by the glands. When you are feeling sad, remember that the endocrine hormones made you feel that much sad. And when you are growing up, you should know that you are growing up because of the hormones that are in your body. Now, what does the endocrine system do? So the endocrine system regulates how much of each hormone is released, which means that too much or too little of any hormone can harm the body. So the endocrine system should keep a balance, with the hormones, because too much hormones can harm us and too little hormones also can harm us. Now the endocrine system, we said earlier that we have over here in our brain we have the pituitary gland, we have the thyroid gland for both bodies, female and male body, we have the thymus again for both bodies, we have the adrenal glands above the kidneys, we have the pancreas, and for the females we have ovaries, and for the males we have the testicles. Now let's see, what do you think we have here? This arrow is for which gland? It is for the pituitary gland. Now how about number 3? It's the thyroid gland. Now number 4 is what? It's the thymus. How about number 5? It's the adrenal. How about number 6? It's the pancreas. And 7, it's ovaries for the females. 8 is testicles for the males. Now let's begin with the pituitary gland. So as you can see, where is the pituitary gland located? If you look at this, you can see that over here, the red spot, this is the pituitary gland. It's inside our brains. Okay, over there, this is the pituitary gland. So it is the master gland. We call it the master gland. So whenever you hear the word the master gland, always remember that they are talking about the pituitary gland. Okay, now why do we call it the master gland? Why is it called the master gland? It's because it produces hormones that control other glands. So this gland, the pituitary gland, produces hormones that also control other glands. So we call it a master gland because it produces hormones that control other glands. Now, as you can see, also the place of the pituitary gland, it's over here. This one is the pituitary gland. So it's located in the brain. Where is the pituitary gland located? It is located in the brain. Now, the pituitary gland, we said earlier, produces hormones that control other glands. So this pituitary gland produces a hormone that controls other gland, which is what? Which is the thyroid gland. So a hormone from the pituitary called TSH is going to be released. It's going to control the gland, this gland that we have over here, which is the thyroid gland. So again, the pituitary gland produces a hormone that controls the thyroid gland. So this pituitary gland produces hormone that's going to control this gland. So this hormone is called thyroid stimulating hormone. It's called thyroid stimulating hormone, or you sometimes hear it as TSH. So whenever you hear TSH, it's the thyroid stimulating hormone. In other words, it's the hormone secreted by the pituitary gland to control the thyroid gland. Now, the pituitary gland helps regulate growth by producing the HGH hormone. So another hormone that's being secreted by the pituitary gland, it's called the HGH hormone, or the growth hormone. So the HGH stands for human growth hormone. Now the HGH affects the total growth of the body. What do you mean by that? So if we have too little of HGH, okay, too little amount, we're going to have something called dwarfism. If we have too much HGH, we're going to have something called giantism. So when we have the right amount of GHH, we're going to have the perfect body. In other words, too little HGH, we're going to have this kind of a body, which is called dwarfism. Too much HGH, we're going to have something like this body, and we call it giantism. Now, the thyroid gland. As you can see, the place of the thyroid gland. If you look over here in the picture, this is the thyroid gland. It's located over here. Okay, so the thyroid gland, it's located in the neck, around the larynx. So where is the thyroid gland located? It's located in the neck, around where? Around the larynx. So this is the place of the thyroid gland. Now, again, as you can see in this picture, where is the thyroid gland located? It's over here. This is the thyroid gland. Now, the thyroid gland secretes the hormone thyroxine that controls the energy needed by the body. So the hormone secreted by the thyroid gland is called thyroxine. So if the thyroid gland produces little thyroxine, the person becomes fat and gets tired quickly. So if you have little thyroxine, you're going to get tired quickly. While if you have too much thyroxine, the person uses the energy quickly and then becomes thin. So if the thyroid gland produces too much thyroxine, you'll be getting thin. Why? Because the person is going to use the energy quickly. He's going to eat lots of food and then become thin. So as a conclusion, we have the pituitary gland. This pituitary gland secretes two hormones. The first hormone is called TSH, and this hormone, it is responsible for or affects the function of the thyroid gland, while the second hormone is called HGH. This affects our growth. So if we have low levels of HGH, we're going to have dwarfism. If we have high levels of HGH, we're going to have something called giantism. Again, pituitary gland secretes two hormones, TSH, HGH. The TSH affects the function of the thyroid gland, while the GHH, if we have too little amount of it in our body, we're going to have something called dwarfism. If we have lots of amount, we're going to have something called giantism. While the thyroid gland, it secretes thyroxine. So the hormone that thyroid gland secretes is called thyroxine. What is this thyroxine responsible for? It affects our body by either getting tired quickly or becoming too thin. So if we have small amounts of thyroxine, we're going to get tired quickly. If we have high levels of thyroxine, we're going to become too thin. Thank you.